French troops, rescue workers and aid are being rushed to Mayotte to help victims of the worst storm to hit the French Indian Ocean territory in almost a century. Cyclone Chido flattened whole neighbourhoods on Saturday and hundreds of people are feared dead. Power and communication lines have been ruptured and the airport and hospital are badly damaged. The cyclone has also caused damage in Mozambique. Louisa Pilbeam has the latest.
Poorly built homes with tin roofs never stood a chance against the power of Cyclone Chido. Winds of 140 miles per hour ripped flimsy neighbourhoods apart in Mayotte, a French island in the Indian Ocean. Hundreds have died, with the death toll feared far higher. Hospitals, schools, roads have been torn up in what French forecasters say is the worst storm in nearly a century. John Ballot filmed this in the capital Mamadzou, where the slums have been worst hit.
It was the wind blowing, and I was panicked. I screamed, "We need help, we need help." I was screaming because I could see the end coming for me.
Other people didn't escape, some swept away by flooding or buried in their houses. Many of the 300,000 population are without electricity, phone lines, internet, water and food. The French military are flying in medical supplies from a nearby island and getting teams on the ground.
Right now we're encountering a number of difficulties in transporting all the staff and equipment needed for the victim rescue mission on the island of Mayotte. So here there's a sort of cluster log that's being organised to bring together the men and equipment.
The aftermath in Mayotte is catastrophic. Now the cyclone is moving through the Mozambique Channel, with those in its path bracing themselves. Louisa Pilbeam, BBC News.
So let's take more detail on what's been going on. Our website is updating all the time with the latest on rescue efforts. As you were hearing from Louisa there, entire settlements were flattened in Mayotte. Rescue workers, including reinforcements from France, are desperately trying to search for any survivors. Let's speak to our correspondent in Nairobi, Richard Kago. Richard, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, so the rescue operation is currently underway. So we've had about 110 French soldiers who were deployed to the island just before the cyclone struck. And then yesterday we had another reinforcement of another 160. So they're basically assisting in terms of rescue and clearing operations. It's quite difficult actually to access most of the sites which were severely impacted because of the destruction that was done on the public infrastructure, including roads and bridges and also the country's main airport. So the situation is still very critical at this hour.
And also, of course, there is the desperate search for anyone who has survived, still trapped. But those who are trying to rebuild, etc., they talked about not being able to get basics such as water for many days already.
Yeah, it's very desperate for them because even just before the cyclone, the island was dealing with chronic water shortages, and now the destruction has just aggravated the situation. So we are staring at a major humanitarian crisis that would come as a result of the impacts of Cyclone Chido. So the relief being sent to the island in terms of medicine and food. Yesterday, a military aircraft arrived with 3 tons of medical supplies and also blood for transfusion and medical staff. So that's really going to be the point of focus. But as you say, it's a very poor island, and so majority of the people were living in shanty towns which are built using semi-permanent equipment, say such as metal roofs, and so majority of them really are staring at a despondency right now, not really knowing what really lies ahead.
Now, what about the cyclone itself, Chido, causing chaos in Mozambique? What are you hearing about where it's headed next, or if it's reduced in terms of its intensity?
Yes, I just heard from weather experts in Mozambique who say that the cyclone has weakened in terms of strength. The last time I checked, striking the cyclone, it was at about 95 kilometers per hour in terms of the wind speeds. But when it landed in the coastal city of Pemba in northern Mozambique, it caused quite some bit of destruction. So schools, hospitals, and homes have also been damaged. Trees have been uprooted, and also electricity lines and communication lines have been cut off. And we saw a lot of people, especially within Malawi, towards the southern bits of the country around Blantyre, just trying to reinforce their houses in anticipation of the destruction that would be caused by the strong winds and the heavy rains that were coming.
So as you say, it is hoped that this cyclone will weaken further before it travels and cause devastation elsewhere.
Yes, and that's why majority of the countries in Southern Africa, which had previously suffered from previous episodes with Cyclone Idai and Freddy and Gombe, have been really on high alert in Zimbabwe and Zambia, and even further north in Tanzania, just educating the populations to be on guard and taking the precautions necessary just to avoid destruction.
Richard Kagok, for now, thank you very much in our bureau in Nairobi.